Imagine waking up at 2 in the morning and thinking absolutely nothing was wrong. No panic, no checking your phone, no wondering why you can't fall back asleep. Because for most of human history, waking up in the middle of the night was completely normal. In fact, humans weren't originally meant to sleep once. We slept twice, and somehow we forgot. Today, if you wake up at 2 in the morning, you probably think something is wrong. Maybe you're stressed. Maybe you drank too much coffee. Maybe you immediately search online for answers. But what if waking up during the night isn't actually the problem? What if modern humans have simply forgotten how they used to sleep? For hundreds and possibly thousands of years, people followed a pattern known as segmented sleep. Instead of one long 8-hour sleep, they had a first sleep and a second sleep. After sunset, people would go to bed and sleep for around 4 hours. Then they would naturally wake up. Not because of anxiety, not because they had insomnia, but because that was simply how the human body worked. And here's where things become strange. People didn't spend those hours lying awake and stressing over it. They actually used that time. Some people prayed, some read books, some wrote in journals, some talked with family members, and some even visited their neighbors. Which sounds absolutely ridiculous today. Imagine your friend knocking on your door at 2 in the morning and saying, "Hey, I just finished my first sleep. Want to talk?" Oddly enough, that wasn't unusual. It was normal. Historians have discovered references to first sleep and second sleep in old diaries, medical records, poems, and literature. People casually mention them as if everyone already understood what they meant, because they did. Nobody needed an explanation. The concept was as ordinary to them as breakfast is to us. In fact, people often referred to their sleep in two separate parts: first sleep, then second sleep. And in between, there was a peaceful period of wakefulness. Some historians believe this time was considered one of the calmest parts of the day. No work, no emails, no alarms, no deadlines, just quiet. But then something happened. Humans invented a way to fight the night: artificial light. Before electricity, the sun controlled almost everything. When darkness came, people slowed down. When the sun rose, they woke up. But candles became cheaper. Then gas lamps appeared. And eventually, electricity changed everything. Suddenly, humans could turn night into day. People stayed awake longer, and our natural patterns slowly began to change. Then came the Industrial Revolution. Factories didn't care about your natural rhythm. They cared about schedules. Workers had to arrive on time. Schools had fixed hours. Businesses opened at specific times. Society became organized around clocks, and little by little, the old pattern disappeared. People stopped talking about first sleep and second sleep. Eventually, the idea almost vanished completely. But here's the interesting part. Some researchers believe our bodies may still remember that ancient pattern, which might explain why many people naturally wake up during the night. It doesn't necessarily mean something is wrong. It might simply be an echo from our ancestors, a leftover behavior that survived thousands of years. And honestly, that's kind of amazing. Because somewhere inside your brain, there may still be a tiny piece of ancient humanity quietly saying, "Relax, this is normal." Of course, modern life isn't exactly designed for midnight reflection. Most people aren't sitting peacefully beside a campfire. They're checking notifications, scrolling social media, or watching random videos they definitely weren't planning to watch. Which means somewhere inside you, there's probably a confused caveman wondering why you're staring at a glowing rectangle instead of admiring the stars. And perhaps that's one of the strangest things about being human. Our world changed incredibly fast, but our bodies evolved over millions of years. And sometimes those two things don't perfectly match. So the next time you wake up in the middle of the night, don't immediately assume you're broken. Because for most of human history, that moment between your first sleep and your second sleep was completely normal. Maybe modern society forgot, but maybe your body didn't. And perhaps somewhere deep inside, your ancestors are simply reminding you how humans used to sleep.